What's really good, guys? Boris Shaw back again with another video. Today I'm with my boy Jarrell. He hasn't been here for a while.
What's happening, peeps?
We're gonna be reviewing season 1 of The Boys. So full spoilers alert, if you haven't seen The Boys, the whole entire 8 episodes, we're gonna be delving into major spoilers, talk about characters, plot points, all that good shit. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back, and then we can have a discussion about it.
Alright, so we've been presented with a superhero society that has been thriving, mad. So obviously I would say that most superhero settings and contexts are usually in a thriving society, but I feel like it's still very comic booky, and this is like The Boys has kind of set it in a very relatable reality to our own.
It's very it's very realistic. Like I feel like if superheroes were real in our world now, this
exactly would be
the closest to how they'd be corporatized, and they'd be like made as assets to different like they were loaned out to like different cities and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Like
based on the fact that they're being controlled. Obviously, technically, it's as realistic as it could be. If somebody gets powers, like obviously even if it's like being constructed from young and blah blah blah, I feel like the risk of just killing everyone is so high, or them just killing everyone is just so ridiculously high. I feel like it's almost, but then again, you can never doubt the human, I mean the human ability of fucking influence and brainwashing, like I'm saying.
But maybe they'll delve a little bit into that, because we don't really know the process of them, one, infecting the children, two, making sure that the children don't go evil, because there weren't any supervillains in this show.
I guess maybe it's because
that they created themselves.
They kind of already set up the setting for them becoming superheroes. So it's almost like if you're told from an age, if you're special and you've got superpowers, then
and nurtured properly,
you nurture properly, you could be a superhero. Giving them aspirations, you know what I'm saying? No one really hates superheroes for no reason. Aesthetically, they sound good. So,
you probably aspire to be like them and idolize them as well. Or on the flip side, like you'd become like Homelander if you didn't have those kind of outside. So the world is something that interested me the most, because as we said, it's very realistic, it's very down to earth. Even the physics and the abilities that they have is steeped in like real life science and shit. So I liked how relatable it was. I liked the fact that the Seven, which is like the Justice League of this world, they were owned by the company Vought, who they basically loan these superheroes out to towns that pay them, cities that pay them. I think they sent the Deep to like Ohio or something, or like
some next random city,
that no one really had any use for him anyway, but he was sent there because of his shenanigans and stuff. We'll get to the Deep in a little bit anyway.
When I saw that, I thought that was a bit nuts, because it's like, right, you lot are paying for superheroes to be in your city as protection, their security, they glorified security, and it's nuts because I guess that's the kind of it's kind of mad, because it's like, I think obviously the mission of what The Boys has done as a drama that's been brought to life is that it's almost like creating this grey area between black and white. So the main things that I proper liked about this series was the rawness of it. The rawness was amazing. It gave you some real life, real shit problems when faced in a certain situation. What the fuck will you do against the odds? It was just very ruthless. And it was and I liked the way that they touched on everybody's backstory, more or less. Excusing Black Noir.
As much as they really needed to for a first season with only 8 episodes, but I feel like even those 8 episodes, like when I watched the first one, I was like, so much shit has happened in this one episode.
How long were they? They were like, is it precisely an hour?
I think they're literally all of them exactly an hour.
So you agree, same points?
I'd say the realness is a big factor, because even though we've seen gritty, down-to-earth superhero, like the Marvel universe to an extent, the DC universe to a larger extent is very steeped in reality. Even these fantastical superhero characters, they're very down-to-earth, they're very relatable. But this, it's very similar to Watchmen, because it shows the darker side of superheroes. Because not everybody is going to have powers and be like straight narrow, you know what I'm saying? So it showed that superheroes are just people at the end of the day, and people are arseholes, can be arseholes.
Anyway, like
and giving them powers might make them even bigger arseholes than they would have been originally. So I like that. I liked the characters. It was, even though they were like a parody of the Justice League, it was still, it didn't even like cringe me out or
Yeah,
make
that's
me
the
feel
thing.
bad or anything
At
like
first, with that whole scene with I can't remember her name. What's her name?
oh, Queen Maeve when she stopped the truck and that.
I was like, whoa, you man are playing it close.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I was like, shit.
Like, it's
she had the
almost exactly
whole
the same,
thing.
yeah.
She had the whole thing. Like literally, bruv. I'm surprised. Like it's mad. It's almost like a spoof, but a real
it wasn't
dark spoof of DC.
Yeah, it
which
wasn't
is
like
weird.
a comedy in that sense at all. They weren't taking the piss out of themselves.
It
They
was
were
dark-
taking it seriously, but
It's darker than Watchmen.
I think
For
it's
me,
darker than
it's
Watchmen.
darker than
From the
Watchmen.
time you see Huey's girlfriend die, that was when I knew it was darker than Watchmen.
Bruv. And the thing is, I've seen the trailer
And yeah,
and it didn't make a difference.
it still shocked
It
the
was
fuck out of
worse.
me.
It
Actually,
was
it was worse because there was all that build
It
up when they were
was so...
talking.
It's just that you could probably imagine. Bruv, holding hands, fam.
Nah, that was
Come
terrible.
on, bruv. That was savage.
And that was a good thing to happen just to hook us for the first episode.
Sick.
100%.
Sick.
100%.
Stakes automatically. I fuck with the stakes, bruv. Because now my girlfriend's just died.
Like,
what
what kind
the
of rage
fuck is happening?
would happen? Man's like,
Bruv. Savage.
bro, I would have gone into a dark place inside my head, bro. I don't even
But that's how
understand.
supervillains are created.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
That whole aspect of it, I loved. The whole character of Huey, I loved him because his arc was great.
Yeah.
He didn't get corrupted towards the end, but you could still see that he had some darkness in him, and he was very shy and stuff at the beginning. And the whole Robin death changed him a lot.
Yeah.
And
To the realistic degree as it
Yeah.
would. Do you know what I mean? If you really want to deep into it, Huey is guilty for killing Translucent.
he is. He did it.
Self-defense. That's why I'm going with that. Man had a big ass 50-inch TV that he was about to deck him with. So fuck Translucent.
Is there anything that you didn't like?
They didn't go deeper into the whole Homelander and the what's the name? What's the name of the blonde thing?
Stillwell.
Stillwell. Yeah, man, that was a weird situation. Still, yeah,
That was a
man.
different kind of mummy issue because
Bruv,
he was jealous of the baby.
Yeah, like
He
a
was
little
watching
brother.
It
Was it? But I was in a sibling way.
But
a
was he
child.
jealous just because he was sucking her teeth, or because
Both.
he was getting the care and nurture?
All two of those, man.
Yeah, okay, fair
My
enough.
man was
His
staring
issues were
through his
deep.
picture, looking.
And she knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's worse.
Was it-
Well, to be honest, she had to control him because he was a loose cannon, bro. I don't know how they
Yeah,
managed
that's
to
how
control
she
him
had
that
to.
much.
She had to. Yeah, it was. I don't know how they managed. She was the only one that could
She
have
threw
done
him pussy, that's how she managed. What do you mean?
She
You
had
know
to throw
exactly
pussy.
how she managed to control him all these years, bro. Yeah, the build up of her having to do little things to control him, the here, there, like a little shoulder rub here, and stroke his ego there, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
crazy, but it doesn't seem like something that should have only been happening right there and then. Because it's like, how the fuck did you control him up until this point? Homelander's been like that, you can tell.
Yeah, but I feel like he might have been under control more because he's more enamored with her, but then as he's grown older and got more powerful and
Oh,
seen
no, the
what he
guy's
can
a big man, bruv.
Yeah, look.
If this was like 25, then you could understand. But I
do.
feel
Yeah,
like
but
he's
how
a
long
grown
they've had this
Yeah,
relationship.
And how long's he been a hero? But
Yeah.
he seemed like he'd been doing this.
Yeah,
and even
for a
when
while.
Queen May was talking like, oh, when I was young and I first came in, it's like, how long have these all been heroes?
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, retired. Do you know what I'm saying?
You got a lot of the world, but the characters themselves, they kept a lot of their backstories hidden, which
Yeah.
is probably why they're gonna go into season 2. But we got the most character development we got was from the boys and I'd say Starlight.
Yeah, Starlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starlight was obviously the only one that kind of did have genuine intentions
Yeah,
towards the situation.
to the point where people thought that she was silly and they wouldn't take notice of her. To the point that she was victimized sexually and shit like that.
Automatically, at that point, when you was watching that shit, you realise, oh shit, she's a singer and she's getting a record deal for that. She's a
Yeah.
singer and she's getting a record deal.
Yeah, and that
It's only a
happens.
question of like, how much you want to be a part of the selling.
Is that how he said it?
That's how he said it, bro.
That's terrible, man. he's come into the team to be an equal. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would he? Like, I don't know if he's done it to me, but I doubt that he has.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know what I'm
seem
saying?
like it has. But
So why would he choose her?
Yeah.
To do that if
it's not like a regular flow of new superheroes coming in.
Yeah, so like the one that's going to be watching your back and stuff. Why would you then? I don't know. Like he was treating her.
I think it was conveying the message. Number one,
what, being like a power trip sort of thing.
no, just in general, just conveying the overall message, like of that type of abuse.
yeah.
Plus, I do think that it was a situation where maybe he saw an opportunity and he thought, "Fuck it, they let us get away with anything."
Scumbag.
Do you know what I mean? He did, the way he went about it was
Like
almost
he's
as
done
if
it
he's done it before, but clearly he couldn't have. So it was a
Well,
bit,
not to them, I guess.
not to them there. So it was pretty risky. That's probably why he started.
Yeah, she could have lit off his head, bro.
Yeah.
What would he have done?
She's not stronger than him, to be fair. Actually,
And he was a bit shook. He's like, whoa, hey, let's calm down, eh? Yeah, like. And they start manipulating her mind and shit
Yeah,
because
that
he knew
was
that a fight would.
that was deep, man.
That's the only thing I'd say that I agree. I didn't like. I feel like they should have delved a little bit more, not too much, because what we got wasn't bad. It's not a bad thing that they didn't touch too much on it. But if I was to say anything could be improved, I'd say that I'd like a bit more backstory on some of the other heroes and stuff like that, just to flesh out the characters a little bit more, not just the world itself.
Next, probably touch on Butcher. We need to touch on Butcher. So, what do you think of Butcher?
You know what, this ties into the whole moral ambiguity of it, because I feel that Butcher was a cool character, but he was more than a dickhead or someone with a revenge mission. He was almost the villain by the end of this story. And don't get me wrong, I sympathize with him with how he felt because of what happened to his wife and stuff like that. I understand that, but the way that he was going about it was more than just vengeance, bro. Like it was almost like he hated all soups because of what one had potentially done to his wife. And the thing is, no one actually told him that she was raped. He came up with that by himself. To the point where even when he confronted Homeland about it, he was just like, rape? Like it didn't even register to him that anyone would construe it as that. So that's what makes me think that they had consensual sex. And he said that he made her come like 3 times and stuff.
But that was very deep, fam.
But yeah, he's like, you can tell even when Butcher took Huey to that meeting to try and straighten him out about supers, it was just a bit like, what did you think was gonna happen? Because,
oh man, chatting to with the guy talking about his penis getting rock off, bro.
Yeah, bro. That was the little AA meeting for what do they call them? Collateral damage.
Yeah, collateral damage.
Yeah, so people that have been harmed by super, like some woman had her back broken when she was saved by a super, and she's like, I wish he just sort of like. I wish he had.
He just been a bit more gentle
with my spine.
Man, just be happy you're alive, man.
Yeah.
You couldn't complain about that if man didn't left you. Let's be honest. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like.
Yeah.
I reckon it's just probably the motions of. That's why they can't do anything, and maybe they'll get reparations or something.
But that's why, being corporatized in that, they helped them because they had teams that were there to make sure that they caught the right people. They had waivers and non-disclosure agreements for people to not say anything about things. Like, they couldn't be sued and shit like that. Like, they had to make public appearances. A-Train didn't really even say sorry, and they had a lawyer fly out to give him 40 grand, bro. Like, to Huey for the death of his girlfriend.
Technically, it's his girlfriend now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't really.
Oh, yeah, his wife.
It's just like, they've been going up for a couple months. Like, hey, just take that.
Hold that, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but with Butcher, I feel like his rage had turned him into a bigot almost, because he even
he didn't care about good. He didn't care about good and evil anymore.
Yeah,
it was literally
just supers and people.
People live like that.
Like, I know Mesmer fucked him up, but he straight out murdered Mesmer. Like,
that was mad.
Like he turned him into. No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, Mesmer maybe shouldn't have died. I'm saying the way that he fucked him up was more than just. And I feel like when he touched him, Mesmer saw how much rage he had towards him, and that's what
man got shook. He's like, please.
Man said, I got children, I got a daughter, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he saw the darkness in him, and that terrified him, bro. So that's what makes me feel like he wasn't a good character overall, but there are shades of grey in that. Huey is like the opposite of that, I guess.
Yeah, he hadn't really been. It was like him at the beginning.
Yeah,
just going through a different path because he hadn't been influenced to that degree. And plus, I guess that like number one, Butch was married. Yeah, like that was his wife. and to think that she was raped as well as that, and then commit suicide. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of adds insult to the injury as well. Like, but whereas A-Train, it's still, regardless of what you want to call it, it was an accident, innit? It was an accident. Like, he didn't mean to run through
I know it's an accident.
He shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. He shouldn't have been going where he was going, but he didn't mean to kill her. It was an accident.
He could have at least been upset about it.
He could have said sorry, he could have stopped or whatever. Like,
he was laughing about it. Like,
it's fucked. Man, chatting about how, man, bro, when I saw the scene when he's talking about swallowing molars when he ran through her, fam.
Did Huey get mad at that? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was like, they're fucking laughing.
Yeah.
Remember, he's cussing, bro. And then Butch showed him that, obviously, to get him more vexed, so that he would bring him into the part of the cause. But yeah, that was deep.
He literally didn't care about no one. He didn't care about Mother's Milk's children and his wife and kid. He roped in Frenchie for no reason. That Frenchie didn't want no part of it, and he strong armed him into it.
Made him get exposed, bro.
Yeah, and then they kept questioning him all the time,
and he was giving no answers. Talking about mind your fucking business.
I'd be upset as Butcher, but I wouldn't, like, when he went to the meeting and he was like, oh, you lot should be angry, you lot are pathetic, like, they're soups. And even when he was trying to get Huey to stay away from Starlight, I guarantee you could have got any information that he needed if he was going the original way.
Yeah, the normal way, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just, he could have been going out with her and brought her into it.
I think it was the time, though. It's like he wanted the information right now. We can't wait.
I feel like he just didn't care about anybody but himself, and that's what they said.
Yeah.
He'd even go back to it for his friends, like when they got captured and that.
That was really sad still.
So, yeah, he did become sort of like the villain in the situation. And we was talking about Huey and the fact that even though, he did kill Translucent, which to me it had to happen, but it is morally grey in the sense that Translucent was a super doing his job, because obviously someone had infiltrated the base and planted the bug. 2, he was abusing his power, and Huey had the right to defend himself. But they kidnapped, tortured, and then blew him up. Like, when Huey killed him, it wasn't because he had done anything. He was actually walking away. Do you know what I'm saying? When he killed him, Huey killed him out of anger.
But I don't know, it's almost like, if you're like, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, almost like it's the way that you could spin it and be like, let's say American soldiers are trying to infiltrate a fucking terrorist organization, and they come across one of them that's stray, they find him, they take him, and they interrogate him, and they question him, and do you know what I mean? They lured him out by himself, taking him and doing their thing Now, the whole terrorist organization is terrible, but you've never heard this guy's name mentioned in terrible acts. Now, does that make him exempt?
I see what you mean. No, it doesn't. No, they had to kill him. I'm just saying that it's morally grey in the sense that the way they went about it was more like villains than heroes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what my point was. So we were having a discussion and we're going to talk to you guys about it as well. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought or what you guys think about the situation between Butcher's wife and Homelander. So at the end of this show, Butcher tries to blow up the house and Homelander saves him and brings him to the house where his wife, who's been missing for 8 years, now lives with their 8 to 15-year-old son.
Yeah, Bug. What is that? 8 years ago. Are you mad? So you was like 15, bro. I know you keep saying 12. He's like 15. What the fuck?
He didn't look like that to me. But I haven't seen it in a while, to be honest. I don't know, man. Was it last week I watched it? Something like that.
Yeah,
so it's a bit iffy to me. But I believe that
because it's like, do you want to believe part of the lie? Because then remember the doctor said, the baby was growing exponentially fast and they had to grow so fast that they had to cut out the belly. So is that true?
Yeah, is that truth or not? Yeah.
Is the only bit that was a lie that the fact that they never had to cut him out and he was delivered fine and she didn't die?
But then it would be a lie because that means that there would be no reason to have to cut him out if he wasn't growing exponentially fast. Yeah, I guess. What I'm saying.
Yeah.
If the birth all went smoothly, that means that he wasn't growing that fast. So
8-year-old man, fam. Gave birth to an 8-year-old man child.
I need to see him again because I don't think he was that old.
He wasn't 8, man. That's all I know.
The point is, I believe that she wasn't raped, which is possibly worse. No,
it's worse.
Is it worse? Yeah, I feel like
she looked guilty when she came out.
If she wasn't raped and she had consensual sex with Homelander and raised a child and left her family for 8 years,
she just looks dishevelled, fam.
It's kind
she
of
just
worse.
looked like, oh my god, I just came 3 times. What am I gonna tell my husband? Like, bruv, That's mad. Like, and then she sat on the park bench riddled with guilt to the point that she walked home and got taken by witness protection. Automatically. How do you know she was pregnant so quick?
Yeah.
Where did she
We
go?
need to know more about this because
Where did she go to know that she was pregnant so quick?
So as it stands, I believe that it was consensual and she's been hiding. And
Is this the first scenario that this has happened?
Yeah.
Has Homelander only slept with one other woman?
Well, he thought he was sterile. Do you think that she was sexing him up, or do you think she was raped? And this is for her own protection against him.
I don't think she was raped.
Yeah.
No. I think Billy made it up. I mean, Billy? Yeah, Billy. Yeah.
Or Billy just assumes.
Butcher made it up. Butcher.
Not everyone
This pain
is
is-
as innocent or as villainous as you think they are in this show.
I think people just, it kind of shows how people offload pain as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Like
at the
you
end of
hurt
the day,
someone, they get
yeah.
fucked up, they end up hurting someone else in the same way, sort of thing.
The hate we give shit, bro.
Yeah. So, the characters and how flawed they were is part of the reason that we liked it.
Yeah.
It was at the forefront of the show, and it didn't even have to be really about superheroes.
No.
But it was the medium through which it told the story of these characters and how
Yeah.
everyone has darkness in them and everyone is vulnerable in certain ways. Because even Homelander,
Yeah.
like his weakness was the woman until she was lying to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then he killed her, but he was vulnerable around her. And when he was speaking to the doctor about how he was raised, he was vulnerable in that moment. You know what I'm saying? He felt pain. He didn't want to forgive the doctor for what he did to him. But you could tell that whatever the doctor did do to him is why Homelander was how he was. And he didn't really want to be that way. It's just how he was now.
So lastly, but what do you think is going to be the situation for season 2?
Season 2, well, hopefully, I think, or I'd like them to touch on what we said before, more of the characters' backstories. We didn't hear really anything about Black Noir.
Nothing.
We don't know anything about him. I'd like to see more of A-Train stuff. Did he survive? Is he actually dead because he had the heart attack?
Mad.
Otherwise, they would have lost. I want to see if Starlight joins the boys maybe, or just at least leaves the Seven and goes her own path where she's not controlled by Vought. I want to see what happens to Vought because obviously Stillwell's dead now, so how is that the other heroes out of their
They
contracts
got
and shit
Gustavo as the
Yeah.
fucking
as a CEO.
the CEO. That's mad.
But he was talking like he was going to be stepping down soon, so is he going to play a bigger role in season 2? Your theories for season 2?
I think obviously they'll go deeper into Homelander's son, Butcher's wife.
Yeah.
I hope that they show us a bit more, although I'm not too sure how beneficial it will be for the overall like tone of the season. But Kimiko, because obviously she kind of didn't really get much of a.
And she had a
I
whole
don't know,
backstory
like-
about her brother that she's trying to get back
Yeah,
to. I'm
it's
pretty
like-
sure she can speak because she said some words.
She said some. She tried to say something.
So
She managed to speak
I
and-
feel like it's not like she can't speak English. She can't speak at all.
I think she might be a mute. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. What
Her
else?
powers and her
Her powers
immortality
are
and
mad.
all that,
Yeah, her powers are mad.
But I think in the comics she is one of the boys. So I think
Yeah, and it showed her as well.
on the poster. Yeah. So
Homelander obviously has spilled the beans about healing Compound V to all of the terrorist organizations throughout the world.
Yeah,
so now they have supervillains.
It's been a great season to be
It's a
honest.
good season. I think that it could potentially, like, not excluding any superhero shows for nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the best superhero real life shows I've seen because of the depth, and I feel like it fits into its own category as well at the same time because it is dark. It's not your average superhero. It's not child friendly in it, but at the same time, yeah.
In the way that it depicts
It's-
superheroes as people
overall,
stuff. Yeah.
It was like almost like a Marvel version of DC.
Yeah, for Marvel.
It was a Marvel depth version of a DC concept, which is mad. And they did a good job on Watchmen, but it wasn't done as good as this.
No, I feel like this is even more.
This is
it's
more.
It's weird to say, but it's even more realistic.
Yeah,
than
it's
Watchmen.
more.
It's
It's
like
more
a
crazy.
step further.
It's a step further, and it's like, wow, where do you draw this line?
Yeah.
Because you don't even realize that the line or where the buck has been set until somebody breaks them all again,
yeah.
and it's just like, wow.
Because I would have said Watchmen was probably the most realistic superhero movie type live action thing that I've seen. In terms of the world that it created and how relatable it was.
Yeah.
And now this is definitely above that.
Out of 10, I think I am going to give The Boys, 9.5. Just because I'm a prick.
I'll give it a 9.5 as well, just because it wasn't completely perfect, but only because of small gripes about obviously not knowing too much about the characters and stuff like that.
And that's not even a gripe.
It's not. I agree with that 9.5. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that was our review and discussion of The Boys. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought. Follow my boy
JWill69 if you want to see some dope art. Just hit the follow button.
Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Turn those post notifications on. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. And as usual, I catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Taylor about the fucking flex.